Hi everyone. Okay, some of you have been asking, what do I think of the Canon 5D Mark III? Canon 5D Mark III has been announced. It was announced on the 2nd of March 2012. Now, 2012, the 5D Mark II was originally in about 2008. So, we've been waiting for 4 years for this new camera to come out, and it's still not actually out yet, it's just been announced. However, we do have some sample videos, and we do have all the specifications and everything of the camera at the moment. Inevitably, it's going to be very good. There's no cameras really that are being produced nowadays that aren't good. Every camera that you get out there is amazing, all the way from the Nikon D3000 all the way up to the, whatever. Some of you may be wondering, there's not a huge increase in megapixels. That is usually the headline figure that people look at. It's like, oh my god. So here it's gone up to like 22, hold on, let me have a little check, 22.3 megapixels. The Mark II was only 21 point something megapixels, so you're like, there's almost no difference there, what's going on? Well, Canon haven't really been working to try and increase their resolution as per se, but they've been working with all the other stuff, like the focusing, the metering, the ISO performance. They've also increased the frames per second, and they've even got a bigger screen on the back. The Canon 5D Mark III's ISO performance goes from 100 up to 25,000, and goes above that as well in its 8 settings. Its autofocus points, it's got 61 compared to the 5D Mark II, which only had 9. Rubbish. Fingers crossed that even though there are more autofocus points, it's going to be better autofocus. Because that's one of the things which is a constant complaint of the Mark II, is that the autofocus isn't that good. A lot of people say that the 7D has a much better autofocus. For me, I've not really noticed any problem with my 5D Mark II's autofocus. I do a lot of video with it rather than photography, and I'm always using manual focus, but I don't ever find really too much problem. Also, I'm using a very wide angle lens, so it really doesn't matter. But imagine if you're using telephoto sport stuff, you want your autofocus to be spot on. So hopefully the 61 points that you're going to get on your sensor here are going to be better and more accurate. Fingers crossed. They're saying it's got enhanced weather sealing. Well, that's good. The previous one was also weather sealed, but this is more enhanced. I reckon that's something which is going to happen every time they release a camera. I think every manufacturer will say it's more weather sealed, more, every time a camera goes, oh, it's more weather sealed. One day, all cameras will be waterproof. You can throw them in the sea and they'll be absolutely fine. However, I suspect it's just as weatherproof as the previous one. So the 22.3 megapixels, you're wondering, what has that really got to do with anything? Why 22.3? Well, what that is if you're doing full HD video, which is 1080 by something, 22.3 or wherever it is that they actually record is 3 times the size of HD. So that means the sensor 3 times downsamples the whole scene. So with the 5D Mark II, it was doing lots of different calculations. Here is much easier, just go divided by 3, done. So that should mean that the video may be better. However, the Mark II's video is so good that it's hard to ever find a complaint with the video that I've ever used. Okay, you've got rolling shutter, but however, you're going to have rolling shutter in this one as well because it's using a CCD. Because it's using a CMOS sensor, not a CCD sensor. The way the files are recorded on a CMOS sensor is usually in a kind of movement like that. Meanwhile, a CCD is able to take the whole thing in one go. So that's why you're more likely to get a rolling shutter with a CMOS sensor. It's also increased its exposure compensation size. So with the 5D Mark II, you can only compensate up to 2 either way, which I find annoying, especially with video whenever I'm wanting to control stuff. So I always use it in manual. However, if you're doing maybe like a wedding, you want an aperture and you know it's a dark area but you want it to be bright, whatever, you can now go +3, 4 or +5 exposure values to your heart's content, which is the same as what the Nikon does at the moment. The video function hasn't really changed too much. It's still 30 or 25 or 24 frames a second at full HD. However, it does have 720p, which is good, which they'll be able to do at 60 and 50 frames a second. always handy. However, you can get that in the 7D and you can get that in the 550D. The other things are the 5D Mark II and the 550D, you can get Magic Lantern, which is a kind of free shareware software which you can put in your memory card, stick into your camera, and it makes it so much more awesome. I advise, if any of you don't know what Magic Lantern is, it's so good, look it up. It will blow your mind with what it makes your camera able to do. You kind of think, oh my goodness, I never thought this was possible in digital SLR, but now it is. You can even do like 5-stop HDR video now. Magic Lantern is rocking the world of digital SLR video stuff. So what comes straight in the body from the Mark III doesn't really impress me that much compared to what Magic Lantern does in the Mark II and also in the 550D. One of the other things I quite like is that it's got a silent shooting mode, which will always be good for weddings. And it also comes with an SD card slot and a compact flash slot. So that's good, having two types of media, and it is current media which you can get from anywhere and it's getting cheaper all the time. So that's two good things which I like quite a lot. Price wise is currently saying it's $3,500. What that's going to be in pounds, I don't quite know at the moment. However, when the 5D Mark II first came out, that was about $2,800. So there is an increase in price, and you could say that over the 4 years there's been changes in currency and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, there is a little bit of an increase. However, Mark II you can get just now for around about £1,500 or even cheaper. If you get it from France, I think my one was got from France and I got for about 1,295 before tax or something like that. I was like, that's amazing. So this new camera is effectively double the price of what you can currently get with the 5D Mark II. And I, with my 5D Mark II and this kind of work that I do, don't have any complaints at all about it. In fact, I think the Canon 5D Mark II is an all-time most awesome camera ever. If you're just starting in photography, or let's say you've got your 5D or your 7D and you're going, right, I'm going to upgrade. If you have money to spare, yes, go for the absolute newest, bestest 5D Mark III. If you're a student or you're a struggling working photographer that really needs their money as much as their photography kit, then I say get the 5D Mark II. It rocks. You're never going to complain. And I doubt at any point somebody will go, that photo you've taken there, that must be with a 5D Mark II, not a 5D Mark III. Or I also equally think no one will ever go, was that video with a Mark III? Definitely looks better than a Mark II. It depends on how well you film the actual stuff that you're filming, not what it's being filmed on. So to put it in one time kind of thing at the end, yes, it's going to be better, yes, it's going to be very good, yes, it's going to have better autofocus, yes, it's going to have better ISO, yes, it's going to have faster frames a second, yes, lots of people are going to want it, yes, it's probably going to be the best-selling Canon camera ever since the 5D Mark II. Yes, I would say buy it if you don't already have a Mark II, or if you've got loads of money and you just want to buy stuff. Don't buy it if you've already got a Mark II and you really don't need another camera. If you do need another camera, get on a Mark II. If you need to save the money. But again, if you've got loads of money, it doesn't matter. Get the best that you can, and this new one will be the best, but I don't think anyone will notice the difference. I don't think. Usually just like photography geeks will actually notice the difference. And that will be when we're looking at it at full resolution on a massive screen and our noses are up to the wall. So, that's my thoughts. What do you think? Cheers, bye bye.